Hey you, Meowkaiser coming at you today with a patch rundown. This patch is 8.700. It's the preseason patch. So later today, after this video is released, we should see the servers go into maintenance and we should finally get around to starting the next season, which people always ask me over and over again. I'm going to move, not that, my camera so that we can actually read things. So next gotcha is coming in. It's a like a future and past versions of various characters. Two of them are live 2D, so if you particularly want a live 2D skin, this is probably your best chance to get one. It'll probably be the highest odds you're going to get. Those two being the future Sisela and Teen Shiokai. New tournament skins, voice packs. The one interesting thing was Lee Dylan's voice was changed. I don't know for what language. I assume I really just don't know, so we'll have to see. Uh, some interesting things. So Herbivore has promotion packages, which is basically you spend a little bit of money and they give you a couple in-game goodies. That's not really too important. Access codes are being removed. Basically, all your access codes are getting turned into gems. The same rates should apply. That's all there is to really say about that. But Bear Roulette has been reworked, so you can actually get skins from the Bear Roulette. We don't actually know the chances on that. We don't know how all of this is going to work. We'll see in the future. Uh, I do like that they're adding character recommendations for characters, just so that like new players can know which characters are like significantly easier to pick up. Like I always have characters that I recommend just because they're simpler, and this will make this game, which is already a very complex game, a lot easier to pick up. Uh, the new aptitude has been added called Restoration. And basically, what it does is when you use it, you immediately cancel one status effect or debuff, and you heal all injuries. This is pretty interesting. So, currently, right now, the general consensus is you run counterattack or accelerate unless you have like a really good reason to run another aptitude, like Scout, for example, if you're Barbara. Uh, I think Restoration. Oh, that's actually kind of funny. They have a typo here, restoration. But so I think the reason why a lot of higher level players haven't been running counterattack is because as you get into higher levels, people tend to play around counterattack more. The reason why I run counterattack is because I can get counterattack up fast enough so that when the window of time where like a Korean player would normally double hit me and then get away, I can actually counterattack that and then I can get away so that we force a 1-for-1 trade. That's why I run counterattack. But I expect people to start running Restoration. Restoration actually seems pretty good, especially in a Kathy meta. It's going to be very reliant on the meta, whether or not people are going to be running it, and also just healing all injuries right on this fly is going to be really nice. Research results have been reworked. So basically, green and blue were the only cells being used. Red and purple basically meant you lost. uh, this was not the case in lower ranks, but in higher ranks, this was definitely the case. So red cell, which is ultra vibration, got buffed so that instead of having its armor penetration effect go off at 70% HP or higher, it's at 50% HP. Before you would just get this knocked off immediately upon entering a trade, so it wasn't very valuable. This should help a lot. I remember mentioning the deal +8 extra damage when attacking a wild animal wasn't actually helpful at all. So thank God they changed this one. Now you get plus 30% mastery when killing a wild animal. I think that's a significant deal. It definitely helps accelerate Red's game plan, which is really nice. You really notice the armor penetration when you get to higher mastery, so this will help. When they also buffed the bullet arrow effect so that it overloads the ammo limits by 2. So instead of like if you were using EBM1 7A1 with this cell, you can go to 6 instead of 4. So before you can go to 5, but that really didn't warrant people using it. So they're like really trying to push people to use this. I don't know if people will use it. I'm going to be completely honest here. We'll have to see. Now here's what's really interesting is the purple cell kind of rework, right? So at the start of a match, you get one. So before you got like one common grade gear that can be upgraded, it was just really bad, right? Now they give you a green item start, which means that you can actually rush things out pretty quickly. So you can get a dress, you can get a dress shirt, and you can get Bishop Cassock at the start of a match. They changed it this one so that you can get one boiling instead of one boiling water to start match, you get one lighter. I mentioned lighters are way more valuable. And then this one is what's really interests me. So before you had the option of getting one scorch rice soup at the start of a match, but now you can get one scrap metal at the start of a match. I feel like the scrap metal in conjunction with this is going to be very powerful. So obviously, if you get Bishop's Cassock, you can use that for a purple armor piece right off the bat. But I feel like Purple Cell really complements a lot of different startups. And it's also something really good if you're on a mastery that likes using scrap metal for its weapon. A lot of the higher level players all mentioned this. Purple Cell kind of gives zero benefits towards late game, right? So you really have to capitalize on Purple Cell's early game to make the cell worth it. And I think it's going to be very debatable about whether or not this cell is good or not, but I think this is the right direction. I like that Purple Cell is now kind of cemented as this early game cell. Combat changes. So Herbivore League gets new changes. So when you're in beginner, novice, or apprentice, so that's 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star queue, you will not be discovered at all by other players for a set amount of time at the beginning of the game. And then a message will be displayed saying when you will be able to meet enemies. And this one's a little bit confusing because I don't know if this is Herbivore only or if this also includes 5-star normal queue. But in normal matches, items can be found in their area without any limited quantity. So you will always be able to find something there. If somebody picks it up, it'll still be there. So this will help new players figure out where things are and not be confused why things aren't there. I think this also helps normal queue as like a way to figure out where things are, but I still recommend ranked queue because that way you can actually like learn the quantity, like how much of a certain item is in one area and how likely it is to be there at the end of the game. A lot of people get confused when I say, oh, there isn't a lot of leather in the game, when they're like, oh, but there's like 5 in a forest. I'm like, yeah, but that's going to be gone like halfway through the game, which may not be the case in their games, but it is the case in my game. This change in particular kind of sparked a lot of debate. So we have the wild animal appearance notification. So from now on, you will be notified when a wild animal spawns in your current area or the surrounding areas. So you basically get a free scout. So the reason why this caused a bit of a debate among higher level players is mostly because in Black Survival, one of the biggest differences between like a good player and like the best player was how good their animal control was. And so this will make it a lot easier for people, and that gap's going to be shortened significantly. That being said, I don't think this is a bad change. I think making the game more new player friendly is generally just the step in the right direction. A lot of new players hop into this game and they get overwhelmed and then they decide they're not going to play the game anymore. So I'm hoping this helps a lot. Injuries has been slightly reworked. They changed so that arm injury no longer does minus 50% mastery when attacking an enemy. Now it's just the damage reduction. So, I mean, you're still going to want to heal it, but at least you won't have to heal it if you get arm injury against like a bear or a gorilla, for example. Nadine has actually been buffed, probably because this change nerfs her, but they made her ability to locate animals every 15 seconds rather than 30 seconds. She needed a buff anyway. I still don't think she'll be viable just because she basically got nerfed and buffed again. So it's like, eh. Hard stat attack has been nerfed towards the late game. So now she'll have 1.7 less stat attack. I don't think that's going to affect her too much. I think she'll still be effective. The big change, however, was to Aya, where her stat attack actually went down 3 whole points, and that's a very big deal with how attack growth calculations work. I mean, attack damage calculations work. So she'll still be that early game monster, which is kind of what Aya was always meant to be, where like you're afraid of getting double shot by her early, but now she's going to have a harder time finishing out games. So I'm actually kind of curious how this is going to play out. And then Shoichi got extra stamina because of reasons. Basically, all level 1 stamina does is it changes the type of routes that you're able to do. Most stab routes cover stamina anyway, so I don't think this is going to affect Shoichi too much. Bianca her skill's more understandable now. That's basically all. Uh, I think this is nice because too many people just don't understand how Bianca works. I get questions about her all the time, and I'm literally just like, read the skill, please. Item changes. So Red Muffler got heavily nerfed. Before, you would actually see people make Red Muffler all the time when they got Wick Line. It's very safe. If you were already ahead, you didn't have to risk making Monkey King Bar, and that way you can also deny the Holy Blood. So now, instead of Scarf plus Holy Blood, it's Oilcloth plus Holy Blood. And so you might be thinking, oh, but there's more cloth in the game, there's more oil in the game than there are scarves. There's only 2 scarves, and it's only at Trail, which is one area. What people don't understand is uh, cloths tend to disappear as the game goes on. By the time you get Wickline, I would be very surprised if there were 1 or 2 cloths left on the map. Cloth is a very common resource used for your armor. Hand got a bunch of buffs. I'm pretty happy about that. Hand has been needing these buffs for a while. There's only 2 viable characters out of all the hand characters, so hopefully we'll be able to see some more hand. Bloodwing Knuckle getting upgraded to 45 is kind of interesting to me. I'm definitely going to be running more Bloodwing Knuckle, so we'll see how this goes. Realized Palm is interesting. Realized Palm has always kind of been this flex pick, although now making the flex pick stronger. I still don't think people are going to force it, but it's interesting. And then Prophet's Tournament armor has been reverted back to 30. This was relevant when Mammy's throw route was relevant, when people would play Sicella and they would make a bunch of pylons, make Astrate, but because Saints Relic got nerfed, I still don't think people will be building this, but hey, it's something to think about. And then for team match, Kitchen Knife got added, which basically means you can make Pirate Flag. Yay! They still haven't addressed. So there's like a couple bug fixes. The issue is while the animal's name is not being displayed properly in the action log when Chloe attacks wild animal has been fixed. League information icon. The issue of a Glide Pass level pop-up window not closing has been fixed. This one a lot of people complained about. The issue of certain pop-up text not being translated has fixed. This one people complained about a lot. I've seen this. This appeared on my stream. The Glide Pass rewards, detailed pop-up windows text have been improved. People still can't play the game. Like, they straight up cannot launch the game. It does not work for them. And second, the skin bug, where the bugs are just, where like the skin is being displayed too large, so you can't actually see anything. That's still a thing affecting people's games, and they haven't addressed either of those, so that's unfortunate. So with that out of the way, that's the rundown of this patch. The preseason should last about a month, and then we get to start ranking again next season. See you then. Peace.